How did Native American women give birth, or what were their practices or beliefs in giving birth? Having a baby for Native Americans presented women with a set of acute challenges and dangers. From what to drink while in labor to the best saints to beseech for a safe pregnancy. Childbirth was the leading cause of death for women between the ages of 15 and 45 for most of human history. Infant mortality was so high that many cultures didn't name a child until it was a few years old. The earliest descriptions of the way Native American women prepared for childbirth date back to the 17th century. In the 17th century, Dutchman Adrian van der Donck described a woman's preparation for childbirth among the Mohawk and Mohican Indians in what is now known as New York. He stated that pregnant women would depart alone to a secluded place near a brook or stream of water and prepare a shelter for themselves with mats and coverings, where, provided with provisions necessary for them, they await their delivery without the company or aid of any person. They rarely are sick from childbirth, and suffer no inconveniences from the same. Many similar descriptions of solitary, painless births exist among European observers of the Native Americans, but because most of these observers were men, and men rarely attended the birth of children, these descriptions are probably inaccurate. Although each indigenous culture had its own unique beliefs and rituals about childbirth, scholars believe that many First Peoples shared certain practices involving the participation of close family members, and select others within the community. Giving birth in the Middle Ages was a dangerous time for women, and childbirth did not discriminate. Young mothers, older mothers, poor or rich mothers, all could die not only in childbirth, but also due to complications afterwards. Sadly, more than 1 in 3 women died during their childbearing years initially. Some women would not have even known they were pregnant until they felt the first movement of their baby inside of them at around 5 months. This was known as the quickening. It seems amazing to us that a woman would not know that she was pregnant for several months, but there were no reliable tests for pregnancy during that period. Historically, some Native American women would deliver their babies alone in quiet place. Some tribes, such as the Shoshone, would allow the mother and grandmother to attend the birth, but in almost all cases, men were not allowed to be present. Navajo women would also chant or hold onto sacred items during delivery. The pregnant women of the Mohawk and Mohican Indians who inhabited the territory now known as New York, according to the observation of Dutchman Adrian van der Donck, used to go alone to a secluded place not far from a river or stream of water where they made a shelter for themselves using mats and other coverings. There, after all the provisions necessary for them were ready, they expected their delivery without the company or assistance of anyone. Seldom were they sick from childbirth or suffered from any inconveniences caused by the pregnancy. During their pregnancies, women restricted their activities and took special care with their diet and behavior to protect the baby. The Cherokees, for example, believed that certain foods affected the fetus. Pregnant women avoided foods that they believed would harm the baby or cause unwanted physical characteristics. For example, they believed that eating raccoon or pheasant would make the baby sickly, or could cause death. Consuming speckled trout could cause birthmarks, and eating black walnuts could give the baby a big nose. They thought that wearing neckerchiefs while pregnant caused umbilical strangulation, and lingering in doorways slowed delivery. Expectant mothers and fathers participated in rituals to guarantee a safe delivery, such as daily washing of hands and feet and employing medicine men to perform rites that would make deliveries easier. As the birth grew closer, women and their families observed other rituals to ensure an easy and healthy birth. 19th-century anthropologist James Mooney recorded one Cherokee ritual intended to frighten the child out of the mother's womb. A female relative of the mother would say, "Listen, you little man, get up now at once. There comes an old woman. The horrible, old thing, is coming, only a little way off. Listen. Quick! Get your bed and let us run away. You!" The female relative then repeated the formula, substituting "little woman" and "your grandfather" in case the baby was a girl. Van der Donck described a Mohican concoction made of root bark that the mother drank shortly before labor began. Many indigenous peoples used similar remedies. Cherokee women drank an infusion of wild cherry bark to speed delivery. Despite numerous descriptions of solitary births, other accounts describe births attended by a midwife and other close family members. Men were rarely allowed in the birth room, and they were never allowed to see the birth. A woman in labor stood, knelt, or sat, but she never gave birth lying down. Usually no one bothered to catch the baby, who fell onto leaves placed beneath the mother. Van der Donck and Mooney described post-delivery rituals in which the mothers ceremonially plunged the infant into the river, an act they repeated daily for 2 years. British Lieutenant Henry Timberlake, an envoy to the Cherokee in the mid-18th century, stated that this ritual made the children acquire such strength that no rickety or deformed are found among them. European descriptions of Native American women's quick recovery from childbirth may have been exaggerated. But generally, Indian women's excellent physical conditioning certainly aided in their recovery from childbirth, barring any serious complications, which, of course, did happen occasionally. Native American women returned to their regular duties in a very short period of time. Until settler colonialism upset the traditional gender roles of the Cherokee people, motherhood was the source of power and status, tied to the identity of women within Cherokee tribes. Historically, when a woman married, the man moved into her household, and children remained under the mother's clan affiliation. Blood was considered sacred and capable of altering wars, family life, and hunting for food, and as such, maternity was held in reverence, and menstruation and birth were regarded as a powerful time in a woman's life cycle. Because gestation was considered to be such a powerful time in a Cherokee woman's life, she was restricted from activities wherein it was believed she had power over the ceremony or cultural event. While a Cherokee woman was pregnant, she was showered with spiritual rituals meant to guarantee safe delivery, in which pregnant women drank elixirs containing elm bark. In addition, women avoided foods believed to place the baby at risk and consulted with tribal leaders for purification rituals. The birthing process was very much a community event in which women from the tribe would attend the birth, as well as tribal healers and other medicine people who sang and aided in the birthing process. After birth, women in the tribe aided in the mother's recovery and aided in the development of the infant's character. Before colonialism, Cherokee women held autonomy within their sexual, pregnancy, and birthing practices. During settler colonialism, white male settlers were astonished by the relative freedom and control Cherokee women exerted on their tribe and community. True to colonial beliefs, white men worked to convince Cherokee men that because women held such power and autonomy, especially around control of the household and household management, marital arrangements, and child rearing, this was a challenge to their masculinity and power. By allowing women to take ownership of these areas of life, Cherokee men were waiving their God-given rights as men of the household. Furthermore, the practice of polygamy within the Cherokee people was regularly accepted based on the Cherokee woman's position in the tribe. As such, the Cherokee practice of marriage was different from the strict, delineated puritanical standards of early settlers or the westernized version known today in the U.S. Even the concept of sin in the Cherokee tribes was less about individual morality, and more about the whole of the tribe or activities that upset the equilibrium of purity. During the Dawes Commission, 1899 to 1907, all people of the 5 civilized tribes were set to be documented by the U.S. government. Cherokee marriage practices came under assault and were found to be morally objectionable to Puritan settlers. As such, Congress was encouraged to outlaw their practices of polygamy and other morally objectionable marriage practices and force Cherokee tribes to define their marriages under the law. This attempt was a further assault on Cherokee women's traditionally held power as matriarch. and sought to supplant Cherokee women as the head of the household to acculturate Cherokee people into a world where capitalism and patriarchy dominated. Protective rituals. Many tribes had rituals intended to protect the new baby. The Navajo buried the placenta as a way to protect the newborn from evil spirits. The Shoshone buried the umbilical cord to ensure certain character traits, such as ambition. Other tribes required new mothers to plunge the newborn into a nearby river every day for the first 2 years of life, which was believed to keep the baby healthy. Some ritual practices continued for a period of time after the birth. The Shoshone tribe required the new mother to live alone with her baby for the first month to foster a bond between the two. Many Indian tribes held a naming ceremony several days after the baby was born. Another Shoshone custom concerned dietary restrictions, requiring new parents to refrain from eating red meat for several weeks after the birth of the baby. In almost all cases, Native American mothers would return to their usual duties very quickly. To allow new Native American mothers to resume their duties, Native American babies were swaddled and strapped to a cradleboard, which was carried on the mother's back. Though cradleboards are still used, many Native American mothers opt for a more modern way to carry their baby, such as a baby sling. The women also offered their advice about the steps you can take right after the child is born to set them up for a successful life. Here is what they suggest. Touch the head of your child with the umbilical cord. That will ensure that they will have a long life, sweet breath, a good voice, and pleasing and elegant speech. Give the newborn some cooked apple before any breast milk. So doing will ensure that they are not greedy or gluttonous throughout their life and that they are courteous with women. If you want your child to have curly hair, wash their hair with white wine right after they are baptized.